Welcome to another episode of the Make More Mind Bites. My name is Fong, I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, also best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have a very exciting guest. She's somebody that I've had the pleasure of interviewing before on my other show, the Peak Potential Success Show, and she was absolutely amazing, has an amazing life, a lot of success stories, and I just couldn't wait to have her on here today. She's gone through a lot of different things during this time. It was about 3 years ago that I had the pleasure of interviewing her, and she's just one of those people that is so passionate in what she does and such an amazing person when it comes to connecting people with each other and building a community of people who are passionate about what they do and being able to go out there and help other people and just build and impact and add value to so many different people. So I'm very excited to have her here again today. She is an international best-selling author of the book Connection, The Currency to Happiness. She is a life coach. She is an international speaker, and she's also an entrepreneur. So please welcome Ms. Linda Duong.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fong. It's so wonderful to see you again and to catch up on the show again. Time flies, doesn't it?
I know it's been 3 years, and I just couldn't I went back to look at that episode, and I'm like, wow, that was 3 years ago. So much has changed. So much things have kind of altered within how we do things. You've done a lot more things too. So before we get to the catch up as to what's gone on in the last 3 years, share with us about your story. I know you shared it with us before in the previous episode, but if you could please give us another recap of your past, how you got to where you are today, so that people get a better understanding as to who you are.
That would be amazing. Is it okay if I share the screen with everyone?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Okay, everybody, can you see my screen now? So
Yep.
just really quickly, I started Link Coaching in 2016. And then soon after that, I published my book. I published my book because of two kids who took their own life due to cyberbullying. And as an extension of the book, I started 3Hearts, which has transformed many lives, especially during COVID. And you're in our community, so you would know a little bit about that. And as an extension of 3Hearts, now I just launched Coachjable. But backtracking a little bit, this was me. I was born at the end of the Vietnam War, so I didn't have anything much. Didn't even have color pencils, nothing. Didn't even know what a computer looked like before I came to Sydney, Australia at the age of 15. And I did not know a word of English. But I achieved all of my dreams. That was first one, and then the second one, third one, traveling the world. I just go through it very quickly because we really did that in the last show. I didn't even have color pencils. So I always wonder how artists does it, like how do they have exhibitions and won awards? And so I finally did it myself. And in 2016, my self-portrait was selected for the finalist Women's Arts Prize, and I named it I Matter, because we all matters. And so my book has achieved #1 bestseller in Australia, in Canada, in UK, #5 in US, making it #1 international bestseller. And I received a medal for that. And this year, recently, I received a second medal for my book, which is really humbling considering the fact that I did not know a word of English before I came to Sydney, Australia. And growing up here, I was constantly told, like, you know, your English writing is terrible. Your English grammar is horrible. But regardless, the book has helped many people become published authors. And part of the proceeds of the book has helped over 1,000 students in Uganda, over 120 staff. And that's just in Uganda. I've helped in Australia as well. And at this conference in 2019, it was all about connection and happiness. But my book was published in 2017. So 2 years later, there was this conference in Australia. And here I am standing next to the father of positive psychology. Every single lecture you attend over the 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, was everything about connection and happiness. And 1,600 scholars there. Almost everyone has a PhD and above, but I was the only one who has the book Connection and Currency to Happiness. So it was an epic conference. And so this is a bit about our 3Hearts community members. 3Hearts has really transformed lives. We have Barbara, who said, you know, Linda, all my life, tell me what to do, what to achieve, I get it done. But I never had a chance to learn about myself until I come to 3Hearts. And 3Hearts has challenged me to think and be more than what I thought I could. And as an extension of that, I now launch Coachjable to help coaches to reach more business owners. And I'm so pleased that you just joined us. You just joined us over the weekend. Welcome, welcome. So 3Hearts is there for everybody, for all walks of life. We never really talk about work in 3Hearts meeting. But as you know, because you're part of the community, all kinds of collaborations has happened behind the scenes. So then I thought I need to create a platform where we actually talk about business. And all of these, everything I do is to address connection, deeper connection, to address mental health and well-being, because it's on the rise at the moment, and everybody gets affected, whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not, because that's a human being. We experience all kinds of emotions, and there are days that we are so high, there are days that we are so down. So the best way to do it is to keep us in a positive state of mind, to keep flourishing. And so one of my favorite saying is that never, ever underestimate the power in you. And that's the peak potential, isn't it? Now, Fong and I have gone through this really quickly. That's because we really done a detailed story in the last show, but that's just a recap for everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. I know we want to just jump into what's been going on with your life for the last 3 years, but before we get there, during that segment of your introduction, you mentioned about how you were able to become an international bestseller without knowing a word of English to begin with. So I know a lot of my clients and a lot of people out there who are very afraid of going out there to do speaking engagements or even speaking in front of people because they're afraid of their accent, or they're afraid of writing because of English is not their first language. For somebody like yourself, how did you overcome that? How did you go, you know what? It doesn't matter about my accent. It doesn't matter if English isn't my first language. I'm going to go out there and do that. How did you overcome that mindset?
So it would be amazing if I tell you that I did it just like that, right? But the truth is, truth be told, right? Success doesn't come from overnight, right? It does need us to work at it. It does need us to dig deep and really, really dig deep and work at it. But to make the long story short, it's nothing can happen without determination. So is that determination to actually really get it done no matter what. And so largely it's because when I was young, as you could see my photo, I was really, really timid. I barely talked much. And so growing up, it given me a wrong image that I was weak just because I don't talk much. On top of that, because I have this surplus of compassion, that I get emotional very easily. So it's giving myself the wrong image that I'm weak. And so when that keep coming at you, to a certain point, I just like, this is not me. It's not true. I don't want this image anymore. So it's very much about, do you truly know who you are? We're going to take a step back. So 3 hearts. Heart number 1 is love and connection for ourselves. And so you got to really dig deep to really truly ask yourself, is this who you are? And if you're happy with this image, with these results, with this status, then you're fine. But I wasn't. I was like, this is not me. Even though English is not my first language, I know I have more to offer. I know I have more I could do. And so it was that deep desire to tap into myself, to truly work on myself, to truly say, is this really me? And the answer wasn't. And when that answer just doesn't reflect my reality, I had to do something. And so I had to dig deep. I had to work on how to overcome this so-called being shy. So then every day I would try to talk a little bit more. Every day I would try a little bit. So we all wish that there's this magic pill, right? Take the blue, take the red, very, very common saying, right? There isn't a white magic crystal pill that you just take and you'll be better. I wish to tell you that. The truth is I had to work at it every single day. But what motivates me to do that is that determination. And in order to have that strong determination, you really truly have to face yourself, almost like look into the mirror, like, is this who I am?
Yeah.
And if this isn't who you are, what do you need to do? And to really take those steps. So when I came to Sydney, Australia, I did not know a word of English. Now even people in far remote Mongolia, wherever it is, South Africa, wherever, they still much better than I was, because there's this thing called YouTube, right? There's this thing called internet. I did not even know what a computer looked like before I came here. So I had literally nothing. I know nothing. So I went everywhere I go, I would hold a dictionary with me. So it was that kind of determination. And then when I say things that people don't understand and it's really embarrassing, I really have to kind of like swallow that embarrassment and say, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again. It's that kind of persistence, it's that kind of persistence to say, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying. I know it sounds boring. I know it sounds like, we all know that. But the fact is, doing it is a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing is one thing, doing it is another thing. And that's something I talk about in the book as well. Application is power.
Mm-hmm.
We used to say knowledge is power in the 70s and 80s, but now we all know information is everywhere. But application is power. When you apply it, that's when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Now, when things get hard, like you said, something's embarrassing happening, or people aren't understanding, even if people were making fun of you or something like that because of your accent, or because of they're telling you you can't be done, how did you overcome that? How did you fight through and still tell yourself, no, I'm determined to do this? Did you have any tricks? Did you have any things that you're saying to yourself that goes, you know what, I'm going to get through this? How did you overcome?
Absolutely. So there's two strategies I'm going to share with everybody. Number one is your self-talk. Your self-talk is so, so powerful. Nobody can win over your self-talk, right? So I can sit here and say, Fong, you look amazing, you're gorgeous. And then you go, oh no, I'm not, then I'm not going to win, right? So the self-talk is so powerful. I have done it before, right? I have tried to encourage someone, no matter what I say, they keep going with the old story. I can't do it. I'm not good. And I can't do it. I can't do it. You can't. But I luckily have a very healthy self-talk, and that's all credit to my amazing parents, particularly my mom. And so that is all about self-love, self-respect, and self-belief. We talk a lot about believe in yourself, but you really can't believe in yourself until you truly have that self-respect. And you can't have that self-respect until you have self-love. That's why the 3 Hearts is so important. The first one is love and connection for yourself. And so that's one huge important message. And I know everybody heard that before, but you really got to really dig deep and do that work. Why is it that you don't respect yourself, or why is it that you think less of yourself? So you kind of have to go back to your value. What do you value? A lot of people think that, oh, I would only be important, or people only love me if I achieve, they equate that to achievements. Then that's where the loophole is. You got to come back to yourself. What is it that makes you who you are? And as little kids, we will teach them, you're kind, you're caring, all of those basics, right? It sounds, like I said, it sounds like basic, but we still have to do it. And that's where the basic is, the foundations of all. And the second trick or tip strategies is what I come up that I've been sharing with people. And the first time I shared was with the positive psychology world. So it involves 3 steps. And if everybody does it with me, it will anchor it, right? Step number 1 is you catch, okay? So whenever you have a negative message that comes to your mind, oh, I'm silly, oh, this is crazy, I can't do it, you catch that thought, okay? You catch it straight away, right? So everybody do it, may catch, right? And after you catch it, step number 2 is you park it, okay? Why? I would say that just imagine like you're driving a car to the mall, to the shopping centers, right? You park your car before you leave to do shopping, right? Your mind's all busy, but you park the car. just imagine your thought like that. Whenever you have a negative thought, catch it and park it. The reason why I say that is that in terms of psychology, when we have an attachment to a thought, there's no way you can stop thinking about it. If I tell you, don't worry, don't think about it, you can't not think about it. The more I tell you, the more you think about it. It's because of that attachment. And so that's why I have come up with this idea that if you just park it, then you know that, I'm only parking the thought. I can always come back to it later. So then I'm not asking you to detach from the thought or let go of it because it's too much of an ask. But when I say just to park it, most of the time people could do it. Okay, I can park it. So by parking it, you interrupt that thought, that downward spiral. And then we flip it, right? We flip it from negative to positive. How do we do that? You challenge yourself. Come on, am I really that silly? Come on, is it really that stupid? Seriously, am I, if you think that this is a failure, so seriously, am I always a failure? It's only this time, it's not true. So you kind of like flip the script by challenging yourself, bring yourself back to reality that was just a random thought or you're just having a moment. And so first of all, we catch the thought. When we have a negative self-talk, we catch, and then we park, and then we flip from negative to positive. And that has been really helpful to a lot of people that I share with. I hope it works for everybody here. What do you think of that, Fong?
Sounds great. So it's a good strategy. Lots of people may need that action to be physical, so that they go, okay, I'm doing something here, I'm putting it away.
That's right.
Instead of just doing it in the mind, because they don't have something to anchor that action to. So
that's
that's
and
very,
that
very powerful.
anxiety, you feel like paralyzed. But if you actually do some action, it helps to release the anxiety as well. And so to answer your question earlier, is my healthy negative self-talk, I turned it from negative to positive. And that's what helped me to continuously moving forward.
Awesome.
And so, yeah.
Now, over the last 3 years, you have done a lot of things. You've really grown the community of 3Hearts. You gave a quick little synopsis as to what 3Hearts is. If you want to jump into a little bit more about 3Hearts, that's great. And then also you launched Coachjable. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in between too that you've done. So give us a quick rundown as to what's gone on in the last 3 years for you.
Wow, so much, so much. So I launched 3Hearts, the in-person meeting in Sydney, 2019. But let's rewind a little bit, why I do what I do. So in 2016, I wrote the book for my own children. And that was because of the journey with my father. My senior father at the time had a fall, broke his hip bone, and I had to drive an hour and a half to go and visit him at the hospital. And at the time, I just so wished that my mother was here to nurse him, but she wasn't, because she was already passed away a long time ago. And so it just reminded me that my young children at the time, had never met my mom before, my late mom, my incredible mom. And she's so incredible because she lost her own mother at the age of 8. And yet she became this incredible mom of 10. And we're all close to her, and it's just amazing. And her life is just incredible. She helped so many people in her own quiet way. She helped even when she has nothing. That's because in Vietnam, if you do know a bit of a background, Vietnam has the war for 30 years. These days, when we have a war for 8 months, we're like, oh my God, this is crazy. I mean, how could it happen for 30 years? But in these 30 years, she still lived life with joy. She still helped people when she has nothing. And it's not just her, my father too. But I talk about her a lot because the book was inspired by her, but it's actually by both of them. So that was what happened. I wrote the book for my own children. But after I wrote the first draft, I saw on the news and on Facebook group, 2 children took their own life due to cyberbullying. And also a friend who is in the coaching industry lost her life with no notice. And it just saddened me so much. And I just feel compelled to share the book, because I feel like, if I know something and I don't share, I feel a bit selfish, and it couldn't be just for my children. So that's when I rewrote it to share with the world. But as soon as I decided to share the book with the world, the vision of 3Hearts came to mind. At the time, I keep thinking that if we have 3Hearts connection hubs all around the world for people to connect, a safe place for people to talk and share, those two children might still be here. And it's not just children, sometimes there are things that we can't really talk to our family members, and sometimes we can't really talk to our friends. And with that thought, I launched 3Hearts.
Mhm.
So in September 2019, I launched it in Sydney. It was in-person meeting. 4 months later, January 2020, I launched it in Ohio, in USA. And then in March, when COVID hit, I launched it on Zoom like this. I was one of these early Zoomers teaching people how to use Zoom when I didn't even know it myself. So I just jumped into things, even when I didn't know it. So with that, we launched to friends in Europe. And during 2020, we really served so much, and we really helped people stay connected, not only connected with themselves, but reach across the globe. We really had people from all around the world. And we would joke that the only place we haven't got anyone from was Antarctica. We just need a penguin to show up to our meeting. So it was incredible. It was amazing. Within 75 minutes, we would laugh together, we would cry together, we share life story. It was just amazing. But it's not like what you might think, that we sit there and tell story. It wasn't like that. I had a really specific format where we literally show up just to play games. We really show up just to play games. But through that, we connect with each other. And you didn't even know that you connect with yourself at a deeper level. It was amazing. And with that, lives transform. And throughout the journey, then I realized that according to the World Health Organizations, there are over 300 million people are suffering from depression. And I can tell you from experience now, doing the research, serving and everything, and experiencing it myself, because all sorts of things happen, right? Over these 3 years, I lost my father during that time, not to COVID, it's old age. But after that, soon after that, I did lose a sister-in-law to COVID, right? So it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the king, the queen, the prime minister, the president, we all get challenged every day in different forms, different way, different stage, right? So everybody gets challenged. And sometimes it seems the higher position you are, the higher the challenge. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
And that's when it hits you even more. And so that's why I'm really, really passionate about serving, so that we can all keep each other in a positive state of mind, so that we can keep flourishing. And so that's 3Hearts. But with 3Hearts, it's for everybody, for all ages, all walks of life. And we never talk about work, even though, like I said, work, all the business collaborations happen behind the scenes. Why? Because once we get to know each other, you naturally like to do business with people that you trust and like.
Mhm.
So all kinds of business happen behind the scenes, but no one really attributed to 3Hearts. And also, I do feel that everyone do want to talk about business, but we didn't have the opportunity. And so that's why now I create Coachjable, so that everybody can actually talk about business and so that we can all really flourish. Because with Coachjable, I try to address two problems with one main end game. And problem number one is, a lot of coaches, we are good at what we do, but we are not necessarily online marketers, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Yeah.
And so we need to be able to reach more clients. And that's problem number one. And also, when you do your own marketing, it's very expensive. You need to know detailed knowledge, and very expensive. That's one problem. The other problem, on the other hand, is that throughout the journey with 3Hearts, is coming up to the 4th year now, I have discovered that 72% of entrepreneurs have self-reported with mental health concerns. And so my idea is that if I, invite everybody together in a community, a talent pool of talent people, then a business owner can just reach out to anybody for help. Because as entrepreneurs, we wear many hats. We need to be PR, PA, we need to do accounting, we need to do everything ourselves. And that's why it's a lot of pressure and stress. But at the same time, we're always on our own. And that's why, they have, reported with mental health concerns. So those are the two problems that I'm trying to address, right? So that we can all work together, we can all flourish. And when we all flourish, naturally we expand, naturally we need employees, whether it's virtual assistants or in person in office, whatever way. So the end game is that we all can provide employment, especially with COVID, post-COVID now, everybody's affected, right? So yeah, that's the end game for Coachable. So
Awesome.
if you're listening, friends, if you are a coach, a consultant, healer, service providers, we welcome you. As long as you have experience and you have testimonials, because we want to have people who really can help and serve.
Nicely
Yeah.
done. Something I find very amazing, and I think it's your superpower, is the ability to bring people together. I saw you grow 3Hearts to this international group with so many people involved, and I'm watching you grow Coachable right now. You have this knack of getting in touch with people, this knack of building relationships so that people gravitate to you. What's your secret? How do you keep in touch with all these people? How do you build relationships with all these people? It's not just like, oh, I met you once, you're done, right? You met them, you connect with them, you build relationships with them, and then eventually you bring them into your circle. So what's your secret about relationship building and then also keeping people engaged with what you're doing?
I thank you for asking. That's a great question. So before I had 3Hearts or Coachable, or before doing coaching, even though as quiet as I am, I love deep connections. Yeah, I don't like big loud parties, but when it's one-on-one, I love it. When it's small groups, I love it. And so I'm all about quality relationships. So if you call that the secret, then that's the secret. But truthfully, everything I do isn't anything so big secret, but a lot of hard work, a lot of true work. It's all about from the heart. It's all about authenticity. Like you said, it's not like hi bye, it's all about investing time and effort and your true presence. If you could call that the secret, it's my true presence. I would not be just talking to you for the sake of talking, so-called, right? So there's a lot of sincerity, there's a lot of respect, there's a lot of truth, that I truly want to understand what you do. I truly care about what you do. Yeah, it's the essence of what make us real human, right? I think with the online world, a lot of people kind of get really confused on how to relate and everything. Whereas for me, whether you meet me on online or in real person, I'm pretty much the same. I mean, yeah, so I think to answer your question, it's a lot to do with being yourself, just being yourself, really. And so I don't go by the title, right? I don't, if you meet me in Sydney one day, I am just really just so casual. I'm really, really casual. Like, if I just go out, no one would really care whether I was a award-winning author, 3Hearts founder, Coachable founder, award-winning artist, or whether the fact that now I have been featured in a documentary that has won 24 global awards. None of those matter to me. I don't wear that on my sleeve. I don't brag. I mean, I'm passionate. I will talk about it. I'm really passionate. But yeah, so I think it's just all about being me. It's just all about being me. Like when I go to the World Congress, Positive Psychology, everyone's like, scholars and PhDs and businessmen, like, all really serious and important. And I was still just giggling like me. You know me by now. I like giggling. So it's just mainly being me, really. Mainly being me. And mainly truly I truly have curiosity about what people do. And I like to know what people do. And I'm very quick to say, Fong does this, and so Lucy does that. And I always like to match people up. It's just a thing that I do my whole life. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, you are one of those people who are very, very, you feel the passion coming out of you. And every time you reach out, I'm like, okay, I know she has something good, because she doesn't reach out if there's nothing good about what she's gonna say. So I always listen to what you're talking about, and what you're texting me about, and it's always exciting to see what you have coming up, because it's always something that's you put a lot of thought into it, and that's why lots of people gravitate to you and stay with you, because what you do, you put a lot of time and thought and effort into, and it really, really shows. And when you talk about it, it's passionate. And when it's passionate,
Yes.
you can feel
Yeah.
that energy. That leads me to my next question, is the energy part. Now, I know I'm talking to you right now, and it's almost 11 o'clock at night for you. So how do you keep that energy up? Because you have clients from all over the world. We were just talking about, before we started the show, that you're connecting with people from Europe, from the States, from Canada, and back in your hometown, but they're all different time zones,
Yes.
and you're working with like minimal hours of sleep. So really, how many hours of sleep do you actually get on average? And then secondly, how do you maintain this energy throughout that time where you are awake?
So I think the truth is, if you're passionate about what you do, which you're one of us, right? You're so passionate, you have so much energy. This is a question that you ask yourself. Maybe you can chime in and answer too. I think when we are passionate about what we do, the energy just come. The energy just come. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
When you're so passionate about what you do, you really don't feel tired. Tired. It's a different kind of tired. I mean, as human being, we all need to rest. We all need to look after our health. But largely because I'm passionate about what I do, it's literally in every single fiber of my being. It's not work. To me, it's not work. To me, it's not work because I'm so passionate about sharing the book. I'm so passionate about sharing 3 Hearts, and it's not something I have to go and do. It's not like I have to go and do work. I don't see it that way. It's just me sharing my passion, and so that's one thing. The other thing about how much sleep, I think, because when you're so passionate, you really forget to be tired. Now, there are times I'm really tired, right? When you overwork, of course you do. So that's why you have to look after yourself. But the fact that I'm working late at night, it gives me the flexibility to actually sleep in the morning. So you know how when you go to a 9 to 5 job, it's different. You've got to shop at 9. You've got to, log on at 9 o'clock because otherwise it won't work. The office, everybody's waiting for you for the meeting. So I guess my privilege for working online and at home office, is that I don't have to be some office by 9 o'clock unless it's my own meeting, unless it's my own schedule.
Mm.
So that's the privilege. And so in terms of how many hours of sleep, it's amazing. Some days I could go to sleep for 3, 4 hours, and another day, if I need it, I could sleep for 12 hours. And so that's how I balance it. So say, for example, tonight I'm doing a show with you. It's now 11 a.m. Afterward, I'll probably be still really excited. I probably won't go to bed until like, I don't know, 1 o'clock, right? 1 a.m. Then the next day I can sleep in a little bit. And then there are other days where I have deadlines. I work on, even though on the screen you can see 4 projects, the book, 3 Hearts, Coachjable, link coaching. But behind each of these projects, there are multiple projects happening behind the scenes. So then sometimes I actually am up to 3, 4 a.m. in the morning doing research. And I love doing research. And when I get so immersed into it, I really don't remember to be tired. And so then the next day, I have this luxury of sleeping in to catch up.
Right.
And so that's why I'm able to keep my energy to answer your question. So it's not like when you go to 9 to 5 and you overwork, and so you feel burnout, and so then that's why you don't have energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my privilege.
Well,
My privilege.
something else I picked up on with your answer there is your flexibility. You're able to really shift and change depending on what's happening, being proactive as to, okay, I can do this now and then get some time over here to balance that out and whatnot. So you're very flexible in changing with whatever happens or whatever is coming to you. So Is that a skill set that you've always had where you're able to be flexible with either the projects that you're working on? If something happens with your project, I'm sure you're able to be flexible a bit as to changing courses or changing paths as to how that project's going to go. So how does that flexibility skill set get developed for you?
I am so pleased that you asked that question, and you're so amazing for picking out things like that. That's just incredible. That just shows how good you are as a coach. So I share in my book that this one character trait, if you could do this, right? For my children, I was like keep teaching them being flexible. If you must to just pick one out of all in terms of survival, right? In terms of make do so that you can get to the end goal, flexibility is on top of my list. If we didn't have flexibility in Vietnam, I don't think we survived till now. Could you imagine that you go through a war for 30 years? There's a whole lot of limitations, how much you could do. On top of that, in that space and time and land, we don't have much. There's not much resources at all. So without the flexibility, without being able to make do with what you have, make changes on the go. If the bomb's coming, you gotta run, right? So flexibility is something that we literally have to grow up with. I don't know about other people, but in my family, that's definitely it. And it's just incredible. It's just incredible how my parents run the business. They actually had a business, right? And growing up, it's just imprinted in me. I was an entrepreneur at the age of 8 years old. I tell that story in the book. I had a 50 cents coin. I grew that. I went to the market to buy biscuits, to the wholesale place to buy a biscuit, a bag of biscuit. And I grew into a table full of biscuits. So I was only 8 years old. And so with flexibility, is what gonna drive you to success really much.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you plan something and it doesn't work, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna stand there and pouch and grouch and then what? Chuck a tantrum? The world doesn't wait for you, right?
Right.
Things happen. And so, yes, I'm so pleased you picked that out. Flexibility is so crucial to me. And when I first came to Australia, especially after I become a parent, I have experienced many situations that so-called the modern life doesn't seem to have that flexibility. It's a schedule. You must book an appointment. We only do it this way. You can't have another way. But I'm so pleased to see now the world has changed so much. For example, when I first came to Australia, you go to McDonald's, you only have that. You order what's on the menu and that's it. But now you can request.
Yeah.
I don't know about McDonald's in Canada, but now you can say, I don't want the onion, or I do want the onion.
Yeah.
Or, I have this kind of allergy. I don't want mayo sauce, mayonnaise. So I was so pleased to see that. But years ago, when we first came, it was like so rigid. Everything is like so set. But yeah, I'm so pleased you asked that.
So you talked about how you kind of grew up with having to instill in flexibility in you because it's kind of a way to survival. You as a mother, what do you do if your child comes up to you and goes like, you know what, mom, I really want to work on my flexibility. What do you do? How do you test her? How do you get her to the point where, okay, you're good with flexibility? What are some of the exercises you could come up with?
Well, it hasn't actually been like that, but it would be more like okay, I've got to do my homework because my kids are really good. Some parents have kids where you need to encourage them to do things, whereas my two kids is like they're always doing things, and I'm always like trying to get them to do less, right? But there are times it's like, oh, I must do this when they're younger, not now, right? Now they're really good, but when they're younger, it's like, okay, I must do this and I have to do it this way. And then I would try and explain to them. And it's like, okay, you can keep that way, but it's not happening. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit here all night long and cry? So they understand. It's very simple. The way I explain things is so simple. And simplicity is another of my so-called secret sauce, secret power, superpower that allow me achieve every single goal and dreams I have. So you explain to them very simply, right? I don't ever challenge my children as such. I literally give them the situation and let them feel it, explore it. I mean, of course, not in harmful ways. For example, like you said, flexibility. I must have the red pencil to color in. So the red pencils is run out, broken, whatever. What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit there all day long and cry? The red pencil is not going to come back. How about we use orange or pink or purple? Simple as that. So that's how I teach them with flexibility.
Right.
And sometimes we don't have to make it too complicated for children. We can just point out the obvious and they'll get it.
Very nice. Our time again has gone by very fast, and you shared a lot of great things here. Last time I asked you for our close off is one message that you will share to the world. Today I'm going to ask you this: what's legacy to you, and what is your legacy? What is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
It's very interesting. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to leave this legacy." To me, I view it differently. To me, when I'm gone, right? So whether it is a legacy to continue on or not, it's not for me to say. I would love to say, okay, my book is my legacy, 3Hearts is my legacy. The fact is, if other people don't view it that way, then it's not. So I think my legacy is me being me. I live a life to my true self, to who I am, and I contribute where I can. And so then, therefore, that's my true legacy. And whether the meaning, the term of legacy, I don't think it's something that I leave behind. It's pretty much what people values of what I've done when I'm no longer here.
Right.
I hope that answers your question.
Nicely done. As you know from our last show, I do have 5 quick questions for you. They're different questions, rapid fire. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. What is one event, sport-wise, that you would love to win the gold medal in?
Oh, sport-wise. Geez, sport-wise, and we're not supposed to think. I'm not supposed to think. Okay, gymnastics, because my daughter has been doing it and she introduced me to it. And now I love it.
All right. So Monopoly calls you, and you know the game Monopoly, and they want to make a game called Lindaopoly, and you get to pick 5 things that represents you, so that people can pick to be their playing pieces. So what are 5 iconic items that represents you?
Oh, okay. A drum. I have always said to my kids, if I come back next life, I want to be a drummer. A drum, a mic. I also want to be a singer. And also I'm a speaker now. Of course, a heart, right? So a drum, a mic, a heart, and ice skating shoes. I would also love to be, what do you call it? The
figure skaters?
Figure skaters, yes. So what have we have? One more, is that
One
right?
more, yeah.
One more. Okay, one more. This must be the most precious one. It's a very, very special glass. Very, very special glass, because I like celebration. Every time in our household, every time we do something, we will always celebrate.
I think I just found 2 things that you can add to your list of things you can do. Become a drummer and become a figure skater. You can always add that to your list, right?
And singer.
And the singer.
Singing has always been on the list. Yeah. Singing has always been on the list. Maybe the next time I do the interview with you is when I do the singing.
Why next time? Why not this time?
I need the training.
I don't know.
Otherwise, I'll break many membranes.
We'll see about that, because my next question, because you said that, here's my next question. If you were stuck in a car and you had to drive a long distance, hours and hours on end, is there one song that you would like to hear over and over and over again without being sick of?
Oh, one song that I
And it
without
doesn't
being
have to be
sick of.
English. It could be any song.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
See, we got you to sing right now.
Go.
If you're in the circus, what is one role that you would like to be? The
One role.
ringmaster, the lion tamer, the tightrope walker. What role?
Oh, I would say not the tightrope walker, but you know that the
Trapeze.
person trapeze. I always thought it's so fun. You know, you just flip every time I watch and they flip, I just like, oh, are they gonna drop? Are they gonna fall? I think it's quite cool, yeah.
Awesome. And my last question to you is, if success is a color for you,
Mhm.
what color is that, and why?
Red.
Awesome. And why?
White. Because it represents the heart.
Mhm. Nice,
It's
nice and
warm.
simple.
It represents, yes. Everything about Linda is simple. Simplicity is my super yeah,
That's
element.
funny. You say everything about Linda is simple, yet you're international best-selling author, you're an artist winner, and all this other stuff. All these credentials does not mean you're a simple person.
But seriously, it was achieved with simplicity though,
Awesome, great,
and hard work, of course, a lot of hard work.
exactly. Any final words from you, and how does anybody connect with you?
Oh, okay. Everybody can connect with me. You can email me, linda@lindaduong.com.au, or on Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot. That would be the most direct way. Yeah, simple, simple, simple.
Great, and any final words?
Any final words? Would be the same as last time. That I wish that everyone would truthfully, sincerely connect with yourself. When we connect with ourselves, we find ourselves, and that's how we find our inner peace. Not until we truly connect with ourselves, we can't find ourselves. If you can't find yourselves, you cannot find your own inner peace. And once every single one of us find our own inner peace, that's when we have access to world peace. Because we can stop all the wars, right? But if you have a war up here and a war here, you're still not at peace. And when you have a war here, you have war with people around you, next to you. And so that's my sincere wish, is that every single one of us start to truly learn about ourselves, connect with ourselves more, so that we can have love and connection for ourselves. Then we extend it to each other. So that's heart number 2. Heart number 3 is love and connection with the whole universe.
As he said, great words to live by, and a very, very powerful message right there. Thank you very much for your time. Always a joy having you here and speaking with you. And I hope everybody else finds this very valuable, because I did. It was a lot of fun, and the time has gone by very fast. So for everybody, make sure you connect with Linda. If you want to get in touch with her with regards to 3Hearts, I highly recommend it. Great community, lots of great people there. A great place to get in touch with yourself and also get in touch with other people around the world. Also, if you're a coach, Coachjable is something I recommend as well. Get in touch with Linda. Even if you're not a coach and you want to learn about different things, Coachjable is a great resource for you to go and find different things to learn about, to improve, to grow, and to really find that inner fire inside you, so that you can release that to the world. So once again, thank you very much, Linda, for being here. Always joy for everybody else. She's Linda. My name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.